From the publisher's desk with Damon K. Jones. Every Monday at 8 p.m. Real Talk. Real Impact. Your weekly dose of life, culture, community, and faith on Black Westchester Magazine. The news with the Black point of view.
Peace and blessings, everybody. Peace and blessings. This is Damon K. Jones here. And welcome to the Publisher's Desk. And I recently put out an article on Black Westchester Magazine. And the article will definitely be in the link. And I really ask Black leadership to tell the truth to Black people, especially when we're dealing with when we're dealing with issues of social concern, and not only when we're discussing issues like stop and frisk, issues like qualified immunity, and the power of the president to deal with these issues. We are literally giving out false information, and we are putting people in a state of fear. And I just wanted to address that because I really don't think that's good from Black leadership, so-called Black activists. They should not do this. And I was very disturbed in watching the recent BET hosted by D.L. Hughley, and you had attorney Ben Crump. And when they were discussing qualified immunity, when they were discussing stop and frisk, or is promoted in Project 2025 that they're going to blanket put stop and frisk, is these are untruths, man. These are really untruths. I've been in law enforcement for 33 years, and I could say from anyone that's watching this video, I have been one of the most outspoken Black law enforcement officer. There have been those before me, but in my generation, I've been one of the most outspoken Black law enforcement officers. And there's a lot of us out there to address the issues of racism and discrimination and lack of policies and procedures, and to really see these so-called activists pimp fear to Black people instead of giving them the proper information. I think we're doing a disservice to Black Lives Matter, but I was standing for Black Lives before there was a Black Lives Matter slogan. We didn't make it fashionable. We stood out and called it what it is, and then we went to work with the same attitude, and we stood tall on what we stood for. So, let me make this clear because I have things to do, but I wanted to get this. I wanted to get this done. I wanted to discuss this, and I'm not going to be long tonight. So let's look into this promotion that I saw online, and we're going to talk about this. Check this out.
Hold on just one second.
Today is going to be an amazing day. Nothing and no one will steal my joy. I am loved. I believe in myself, even when others don't.
I choose to remain calm, follow orders, get back to my family. My life matters. Anything is possible.
Anything is possible. My man.
So, it says Project 2025 will bring back stop and frisk. So let me give y'all something to think about. Stop and frisk never left. Stop and frisk never left. You know why it never left? Because stop and frisk is upheld by the Supreme Court. It's called a Terry stop. it was stop and frisk was used. It was a name used, especially out of New York, because the NYPD was using the Terry stop, but they was actually targeting a specific group of people. So to say that Project 2025 will bring back stop and frisk, that's not true. Stop and frisk never left. Terry it originates from the Supreme Court case Terry versus Ohio, and it refers to a situation where a police officer stops a person based on reasonable suspicion that they are involved in criminal activity. If during the stop the officer also has reasonable belief that the person is armed and dangerous, they may conduct a frisk, which is a pat down of the individual's outer clothing for weapons. Now that was upheld by the Supreme Court in 1968, over 56 years ago. But you could take that legal activity of the Terry stop and then you could apply it and say, we're just going to do a certain demographics of people. Now, that's not legal at all. And that's why it was found legal, stop and frisk. The application of it was found illegal. But stop and frisk, aka Terry stop, wasn't illegal. And it hurts me when I see these shows and you have big time civil rights lawyers like Ben Crump on the stand and not explaining this to people. And you have other activists on social media and not explaining this to people. It does a disservice to the fight for police accountability because it gives other people that don't want these things talking points. We need to be precise in what we're saying. And right now we're not. We're putting fear. We're putting fear. So when it comes to stop and frisk, the application of it, and how do we stop that? How do we deal with that? Huh? It's your local mayors. It's your local police commissioners. It's your local city council. You're looking at the federal government when you should look at your local politics. See, this is like a distraction for black people of the real fight. The fight is local politics. How many democratic cities with black mayors have civilian complaint review boards? How many police departments under black mayors, under Democrats, actually have policies in their police department that they will not abuse the Terry stop? These are the questions you need to ask. But they're putting it on a federal level. But it has nothing to do with a federal level. It's your local police departments. Because it's something that's called the 10th Amendment. And what the 10th Amendment does, it limits the power of the federal government over the police department. So they can't do blanket laws and say this applies to the 20,000 police departments throughout the United States. The 10th Amendment doesn't allow them to do that. And these lawyers know this. So I don't understand how are they saying these things when it's not true? We need to stand on truth. And we need to speak truth to the people so they can make the correct decisions and they know what they need to do. So if you're worried about stop and frisk being used to target black people, you have to deal with your local police departments. You have to deal with your county police departments. You have to deal with your state police. And you know how we know that this is the fact? Because when President Barack Obama came out with his 21st century policing model, which had a lot of great ideas in it, he couldn't enforce the local police departments to do it because of the 10th Amendment of the Constitution. So he had to make them recommendations for best practices. So let's go on to the next.
Talking about who should we trust to keep our community safe, wants to provide police officers with full immunity to be able to do whatever it is that you want to do whenever you feel like a situation arises that requires you to not use best practices, whether that be using patience, calling a mental health professional. But if you believe a person needs to be shot down like a dog in the street, you do so and you won't have to face any consequences. So when we talk about a matter of safety, a matter of keeping our community safe, you have a person who literally just rambles and acts off of emotion compared to an individual who's saying that I candidly want to use legislation and policy to find ways to not only keep our community safe, but help us thrive in every way imaginable.
Let me let y'all on a little secret. Police already have qualified immunity. They already have qualified immunity. It was ruled by the Supreme Court. It was in 1982, a case Harlow versus Fitzgerald. The court ruled that the government officials are protected by qualified immunity from civil lawsuits unless they have violated clearly established statutory constitutional rights that a reasonable person would have recognized. Now, remember what I'm saying. Just remember what I just said. What a reasonable person would have recognized. Now, let me go into this sister here and what she says about the George Floyd bill, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to wrap it all up and we're going to get out of here.
Qualified immunity protects federal, state, and local officials, including police officers, from personal liability unless they are determined to have violated what the court defines as an individual's clearly established statutory or constitutional rights. The biggest frustration I have with the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act is it just doesn't go far enough. It's time for the United States to prioritize the
It doesn't go far enough because it can't. Because of what? The 10th Amendment of the United States Constitution. It's something called the Constitution, brothers and sisters. So they're sitting here putting fear. The George Floyd bill, if passed, can only deal with federal law enforcement officers. It has to be up to the states. Oh, it doesn't go far enough. It can't go no farther than the federal officers. That's all it can affect. It's a state by state basis. And that's the sad thing about it. And I'm going to go back to Barack Obama. When he put it out, he couldn't put it as a bill, the 21st. Why didn't Barack do it then? Because he couldn't. We have to put our thinking caps on and stop allowing them to get us all up in a tizzy and in our feelings and emotions, and we don't have common sense. If that was the case, then Barack Obama's 21st century policing model would have been a bill. But there was no need to make it a bill because the federal government cannot force local, county, and state police in what they need to do. It's up to the states, the individual states. And I'm going to go back and say it. How many cities are Democratic run? How many cities are run by black mayors, black city councils, black elected officials, and they not have addressed this? So for him to say that President Trump is going to make a blanket move on qualified immunity, he can't do it. And it was already ruled by the United States Supreme Court. He doesn't have to do it. What are we talking about? So if you want to deal with qualified immunity, you know what you got to do, black folks? You got to go to your local, your county, and your state elected officials that you vote for and let them pass the bills. We're sitting in New York and everybody's running around talking about that, but nobody's saying, well, we got a Democratic governor, we got a Democratic run assembly, we got a Democratic run Senate, and where's the bill to end qualified immunity? Where's the bill to run qualified immunity? So we're just sitting here playing with black folks' feelings. And it's not good. And then you sit there and you got lawyers like Ben Crump that's on the panel and one of the co-sponsors of the George Floyd bill. I guess because he was the one up there touting it, and he's not being honest. He's not being honest with the people. They're not being honest with the people. Police departments already have qualified immunity. You got to do it through the states. And please, let's start talking, how are we going to do it through the states? Let's hold our Democratic governors accountable. Let's hold our Democratic run assemblies and Senate, state elected officials accountable. Let's hold our local city elected officials and county elected officials accountable to make sure that those policies are in place in our cities and in our county government. This is ridiculous. Let's make sure that we have an independent special prosecutor for questionable police shootings, not an elected official, someone appointed that doesn't have no political agenda to come in and investigate. Let's start talking about those things. Let's start making sure that every black city have a civilian complaint review board. That people can come make complaints to. And then they can take those complaints and they can take those complaints and they can send it either to the state AG or they can send it to the federal attorney general to create a pattern and practice of the police department when they violate black people's rights so they could come in and actually investigate. That's how it's done. But these Negroes are just sitting here, just running their mouth. They're running their mouth. And let me make one more thing clear, and I'm going to get up out of here. you hear these civil rights lawyers talking about how much money they won. They only won from settlements. So when they talk about qualified immunity, they have to reach a threshold of violating people's rights. You can only do that when you go to trial. Y'all don't hear, you ain't hear what I said. You could only do it when you go to trial, not from a settlement. So when these lawyers talk about their big settlements, it don't mean a goddamn thing to the courts. Because you didn't go to trial. And when you don't go to trial to win, you don't create what is called case law. So when Ray Ray and Junebug get shot in Minnesota, they could pull up case law from New York. When a sister get shot in another state, they could pull up case law from another state. But when you have nothing but a bunch of settlements, there's no case law. So how can you prove that these officers, their actions reached that threshold if you don't have a ruling that they did? Come on, man. We're playing games with black people's feelings, and y'all Negroes need to stop. You need to stop. Stop playing with black people's feelings when it comes to police accountability. Start doing the actual work. And it starts with the states. So I want to thank y'all, man. I had a great time. You can go on blackwestchester.com and you can read my article. You can reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, X, and Rumble. But we're going to continue this discussion. And later on this week, I'm going to talk about 1-800 Blame the Black Man. Because it seems that's what they're going to do if the Democrats lose. And I'm not telling nobody, I'm not telling nobody to support Trump. I'm just saying, you're not going to blame the black men, especially when y'all out here telling this foolishness just on police accountability. So please stay tuned. Please go to the website. Please sign up for emails. We send out emails every week on the articles that we come out, and we're just trying to work for black folks. That's all we're trying to do, is keep truth. As it says, life, culture, community, and faith. That's what it's all about. Thank you, and may you have a black-tastic Monday and enjoy the rest of the week. And remember, God is in your vegetables. Peace out.
From the Publisher's Desk with Damon K. Jones. Every Monday at 8 p.m. Real Talk. Real Impact. Your weekly dose of life, culture, community, and faith on Black Westchester Magazine. The news with the black point of view.